But how do you ensure that your people have that speed?
I would say it's mindset, skill set, tool sets. And it's also disrupting yourself before you are disrupted. And the bigger piece is, if you look at, and there's a small book I normally tell people to read, and it's almost dated, but Who Moved My Cheese? Oh, yeah. If you don't drive a mindset of what would happen if there was a disruption, then you will have a problem in your hands. Look at the taxi drivers and Uber at one point. B&B, if you look at Netflix, before people would say, let's go to the cinema hall, people still go, but the competition can come from nowhere. If you told the banks that there will be M-Pesa playing in the way we are playing now, people would have said you are crazy. So I think it's a case of also reimagining and saying, how do you then become a lifestyle partner to individuals and businesses going forward? And once you do that, then you find the only constant is reimagining yourself. So I think you can't just say your income will come from calls and SMSs or texts. We are seeing now emerging products coming in. And that, I think, is a piece where you come in and you look at how do you reskill your talent for the future. And we've had to revisit how we then prepare our people to be relevant going forward. So when you say, why would you even change? The point is, if you don't, you will find you are irrelevant going forward.
So here goes. I mean, how many CVs do you get per day of people wanting to work at Safaricom? Average.
So now this is another bit of reimagining work. You find the way we recruit has changed dramatically. So I don't get any CVs.
Yes.
So we've created a portal where people
throw in
their CVs, their profiles. Yeah. Once you create your profile, we can actually proactively get in touch with you based on your CV. Yeah. We are looking at also potentially saying, actually the initial, let's say 50% of resourcing is automated.
Have you gotten to a level where you don't need a degree to employ?
I would say, what is a degree? Because what we are now looking for are crafts. When you look at how we look at people like in an agile work, you will find you now reward talent based on their craftsmanship. If you look at, if I can make it simpler, if you look at a cook, you can have a cook who can do a meal for themselves very miserably. Yeah. The others who can do it at the point of the family. The others who can host a bunch of friends and prepare some great one. Yeah. But there are others who can do actually professional catering for a wedding, for something. And then there are people who can develop recipes.
You know, I'm saying that.
It's the Ramses of this world.
Oh, yeah, the Ramses. Oh, that's interesting.
So that's a piece where you say, if it's a data scientist, if it's a software engineer, if it's an HR person, you start saying, how do you move from associate to practitioner, to professional, to expert, to master? And that is now the journey where you're saying, in there's no degree. It's about the skills that you develop along the way.
I mean, because people throw so much efforts. I mean, I got a first class. Why am I not being employed? And then you go in there, you know, talk about telco to technology company, and you're seeing that all you need is people who can deliver, thinkers, doers. For instance, I don't know how that.
There's something we're actually going into, because if you look at the future of work, we are now seeing emerging skill sets. And one of the things we want to do in line with our purpose is to see whether we can partner with like-minded organizations, big tech companies, yourselves, universities, colleges, to start growing certain skills for the future. And we would want to have, in fact, we are calling it out to say, we would want to have 1,000 fintech talent. And that's about skills. So coding, cloud, software engineers, the developers, machine learning. If you can, and that's about doing. Remember that 70% of your growth comes from doing. If we can grow such talent for the future, then you'll discover the degree is not a requirement for any job.
What next for Paul Kasimu? Surely, after Safaricom, You're at the apex.
No, they're amazing HR leaders in this country. And even better still is a pipeline of what we see coming. In 2012, I was the chair of the Institute of HR Management, and I worked with others who had a vision of saying, how do we build HR professionals in the country? I think what is emerging is, obviously, as I said earlier on, talent has a shelf life. And after a while, you'll need to also let others come through and do their bit. But I would actually want to go into how do you grow leaders of the future? There is something I'm pursuing, and my research will be around what are some of the planned and unplanned triggers that grow leaders, effective leaders. And if I can do that, then I would see myself doing more of just fireside chats, perhaps running some programs around how to grow leaders, mentoring, and giving back to society, because I'm a product of society and people took great risks with me.
Paul, I will not want to let you go. I hope you're considering writing a book about your HR journey.
I actually started writing my memoir, or a book. And this is how I envisaged it. I imagined 15 graduates. I took 5 who left the university the same day. And they went different directions. And they met 15 years later. And they were giving their testimony. And the biggest point I want to make is the first person you work for has the biggest impact on who you become. And the role of a line manager and a mentor is huge in growing talent and bringing out the best in people. Mahatma Gandhi said the greatest legacy is to enable others to be the best they can be. And I have a hypothesis that says you're as good as the people you work for and with.